Amazing day to all. This is Teacher Dan Ragayan, and welcome to another episode of our Let Review drill. For this drill, or for this episode, we'll be focusing on Gen Ed or general education, particularly in the area of science. So this is part of our preparation for your licensure examination for professional teachers come March 2025. Of course, let us be all guided with our goal to pass and even top the board licensure examination for professional teachers. Samahan po ninyo ako, future LPT, sa pagsasagot natin ng ating items. No? I have prepared 30 items for this particular drill. And let us all manifest that you will all pass the board exam. Okay, so our review focus, as I mentioned, is science, and this is Valentine's Day edition. So this is our drill number 2 for Gen Ed. Valentine's Day edition because we will be covering topics no, on heart, diseases and heart of the heart, other component of circulatory system, and even our emotions. So I hope we are all ready at simulan na natin. Okay, so for item number 1, which organ is primarily responsible for pumping blood throughout the body? Is it A, lungs, B, heart, C, liver, or letter D, kidneys? Okay, so this organ is responsible for pumping blood throughout the body. Of course, that is our heart. Okay, so letter B is the correct answer. So some hearty fun facts. No, the heart can exert pressure strong enough to squirt blood up to 9 meters, and the human heart beats approximately 100,000 times. No, in a day, that's 35 million times a year. And our system of blood vessels is over 96,500 kilometer long. And that's like going around the world 2 times. Okay. So our heart is located in the center of our chest, slightly to the left. Okay. So behind the breastbone and between the lungs, or behind the sternum between the lungs. And of course, the average adult heart is about the size of a clenched fist. Okay, and weighs around 300 grams. So these are just some of the hearty facts about our heart. Okay. Item number 2, what type of muscle tissue is the heart composed of? A, skeletal muscle, B, smooth muscle, C, cardiac muscle, or letter D, voluntary muscle. So what's your answer? Future LPT top notchers. Of course, this is the only organ with this type of muscle, and that is, of course, the cardiac muscle. So cardiac muscle is the muscle tissue of our heart. Okay, so we have 3 muscle types. We have the smooth muscle, the cardiac muscle, and the skeletal muscle. And for the cardiac muscle, it has striated, branched, and enucleated fibers, occurs in walls of the heart, and is involuntary. So this muscle type is involuntary. Whereas smooth muscle has spindle-shaped, non-striated, unenucleated fibers, which occurs in walls of internal organs, no, and is involuntary as well. So basically, these are for our internal organs, the smooth muscle. And lastly, the skeletal muscle has striated tubular multinucleated fibers usually attached to skeleton. So these are types of muscles which are voluntary. So muscles which are attached to the bone are of course skeletal muscle. Okay. So next question, item number 3, which part of the brain is most associated with emotions like love? A, cerebellum, B, hypothalamus, C, medulla oblongata, or letter D, occipital lobe. Right? So for emotions like love, okay, gaya ng pag-ibig ay saan? That's correct. That's the hypothalamus, no? The infamous joke or saying that I love you with all my hypothalamus. All right. Okay, next. So what does the hypothalamus do? So basically you can find hypothalamus here. Okay. Regulates the thirst, hunger, and water and food intake, regulates heart rate, body temperature, blood pressure, sexual drive, and emotional expression, and maintains learning and memory. This is also can also help no in breastfeeding. So basically that's hypothalamus. Okay. Item number 4, which hormone is often called the love hormone due to its role in bonding and social connections? A, adrenaline, B, serotonin, C, dopamine, D, oxytocin. Okay, the love hormone due to its role in bonding and social connection, no? When you kiss, when you hug, no? So you actually produce the love hormone called oxytocin. Okay? Oxytocin is the love hormone, dopamine is the reward chemical, serotonin is the mood stabilizer, and the endorphin is the painkiller. Okay? Item number five, what is the function of the atria in the heart? Atria is the plural of atrium, right? So we have the right and left atrium. Is it A, receive blood returning to the heart? B, pump blood out of the heart? C, oxygenate blood? Or letter D, regulate body pressure? Blood pressure, regulate blood pressure. So what's the function of the atrium or the atria? That's actually what your answer, feature top notchers, feature LPTs. That's correct. It receives blood returning to the heart. No? So, receiving blood returning to the heart, this is a responsibility of the atria. Okay, so you can see here the right atrium, the oxygenated, the low in oxygen blood from the body enters into the right atrium. So this blood is under low pressure. While the left atrium oxygenated blood or high in oxygen from the lungs enters the left atrium and this blood is still under low pressure. So basically receiving blood. While right ventricle, blood passes into the right ventricle which contracts to pump blood to the lungs where the blood is oxygenated. So to the lungs. While left ventricle, oxygenated blood enters the large left ventricle, which contracts very hard to push blood into the aorta or artery. The left ventricle is very thick and generates a high pressure to pump blood naman around the whole body. Okay, so that's the atria and the ventricles, the four chambers of the heart. Okay, next item. Number six, which neurotransmitter is associated with pleasure and reward, contributing to feelings of love? A, cortisol, B, melatonin, C, dopamine, D, insulin. So we mentioned this, no, in our earlier item. Okay. So when there is an association of pleasure and reward, that's correct. It's dopamine. So dopamine is for the reward chemical, while the oxytocin is for the love hormone. Okay. Item number seven, how many chambers does the human heart have? A2, B3, C4, D5. Of course, this is a basic one. So our heart is composed of four chambers, no? Our right atrium, the left atrium, the right ventricle, and the left ventricle. So we have four chambers of the heart. So you can see here the right atrium and right ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle. So you can see that from the blood, no, the blood will enter into the right atrium through the superior vena cava or inferior vena cava here, going to the right ventricle, and this will actually go to the lungs, no, through the pulmonary artery. Whereas from the lungs, no, blood will go through the left atrium, no, through the pulmonary ventricle, and then goes to the left ventricle and goes to the different parts of the body. So that's naman for left atrium to left ventricle. Okay. So next item number eight, what role does adrenaline play in emotions and such as emotions, I mean, like love and attraction? A slows down heart rate, B increases heart rate and alertness, C lowers blood pressure, or letter D induces sleep. Okay. So what's the role of adrenaline, okay, in emotions, no, like love and attraction. That is increasing heart rate and alertness. So pag medyo in love, no, at medyo may kabang kasama, no, so adrenaline plays, no, in that particular emotion, it increases our heart rate and alertness. Okay, so that's letter B. So what causes adrenaline spikes? Okay, so first you perceive a threat or danger. For example, may aambang hahabol sa iyo, no, na aso, no? Kasi pumunta ka sa bahay ng nililigawan mo tapos marami palang aso, no? Number two, your hypothalamus activates the sympathetic nervous system. Remember, the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for fight or flight, no? Emotion, okay? Then number three, your brain instructs the adrenal glands to produce adrenaline. And adrenaline is released throughout the bloodstream. So this is what causes our adrenaline to spike. Okay. Item number 9, which system in the body regulates emotional responses like love and fear? A, respiratory system. B, circulatory system. C, immune system. D, endocrine system. Okay. So for this one, no, for the regulation of emotion like love and fear is actually responsibility of our endocrine system, where several hormones are being secreted. So this is also known as our hormone system of our body, the endocrine system. Okay, so you can see here some glands, no? In the endocrine, we have the hypothalamus, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, adrenal gland, the pancreas, ovaries, and even the testes. Remember that ovaries and testes, though they are part of the reproductive system, they are also, no, part of the endocrine system because they do secrete hormones. Remember that ovaries secrete how many types of hormones? We have two, right? The estrogen and progesterone, while the testes secretes what? Testosterone, no? The male sex hormone. Item number 10, which structure prevents the backflow of blood in the heart? No? Is it A, arteries, B, veins, C, valves, or letter D, capillaries or capillaries? Okay, so what structure prevents the backflow? That is, what's your answer? That's correct. This is the valves. Now, letter C is the correct answer. Our valves. So, heart valves prevent the backflow of blood, which ensures the proper direction of blood flow through the circulatory system. So, the heart has four valves, no? Two atrioventricular valves, or the tricuspid valve and the mitral valve, that prevent backflow in the atria, okay, or the atrium. And the two semilunar valves, the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve, that prevent backflow naman into the ventricles. Okay, so tricuspid and mitral for atrium, pulmonary and aortic for ventricles. Okay, so item number 11, which part of the nervous system is responsible for the fight or flight response, which can be triggered by strong emotions? A, central nervous system, B, parasympathetic nervous system, C, sympathetic nervous system, or letter D, enteric nervous system. Okay, we did mention, no, the fight or flight response earlier, and this is actually a responsibility of, that's correct, the sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight response. Okay, so we have two, right? No, the CNS or the central nervous system, and the PNS or the peripheral nervous system. So for our CNS, okay, it consists of the brain and spinal cord. So that is our central nervous system, responsible for sensory activities, storing memories, and emotions. While PNS consists of the cranial and spinal nerves, or the nerves in general. It brings messages to and from the CNS to the rest of the body. And under PNS, it is further categorized into two, the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. Okay, so for the somatic nervous system, responsible for voluntary movement, such as muscle movement, while the autonomic nervous system is responsible for involuntary actions like heartbeat, pupil dilation, etc. Okay, so voluntary, somatic, autonomic, involuntary. Okay, so yan. And then under autonomic nervous system for the involuntary, we have the sympathetic and parasympathetic. For sympathetic nervous system, this is responsible for the flight or fight response, while the parasympathetic nervous system is responsible naman for rest and relax actions like digestion. Okay? Pag fight or flight, sympathetic. Pag relax, parasympathetic. Okay? Next item number 12. What is the primary function of serotonin in emotional regulation? A, increases aggression. B, lowers blood pressure. C, enhances muscle growth. Or letter D, promotes happiness and well-being. Okay? So what's the primary function of serotonin? For emotional regulation, that's correct. Letter D, promotes happiness and well-being. So letter D is the correct answer for serotonin. And the normal serotonin function and production, an average serotonin levels between 50 and 200 nanograms per milliliter. The body requires normal serotonin levels for optimal physical healing, sleep, and the mood. And your gut produces about 95% of serotonin while the brain makes 5%. Okay? Item number 13, which part of the heart pumps oxygenated blood to the rest of the body? Okay, is it the right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, or left ventricle? Okay, oxygenated blood or oxygen-rich blood to the rest of the body is actually left ventricle. Okay, so that is our left ventricle. So oxygenated blood, no, from left atrium, from the lungs to the left atrium to the left ventricle to the different parts of the body. So that is left ventricle. Oxygenated blood, deoxygenated blood. Okay. Now, item number 14, what is the term for the biological phenomenon where two people in love synchronize their heart rates? A, heart mirroring, B, cardiovascular bonding, C, heart rate synchronization, or letter D, emotional entrainment. Okay, so our biophenomenon where two people in love, okay, synchronize their heart rate is what we call heart rate synchronization. So this is the term that we use now for these biological phenomena. All right. Item number 15, which gland releases hormones that sorry, that influence emotional responses, including love and stress? A, pituitary gland, B, thyroid gland, C, pancreas, or letter D, adrenal gland. Okay, so what gland no, releases hormones that influence our emotional responses? That is actually what? What's your answer, future top notchers? That's actually the pituitary gland, the master gland of the body. Why is it called the master gland of the body? Because a lot of hormones is being secreted by these glands. So here you can see our pituitary gland. Now we have the posterior pituitary gland and the anterior pituitary gland. For the anterior pituitary gland, these are the different hormones no being released. We have the thyroid stimulating hormone or the TSH, the adrenocorticotropin or the ACTH, the prolactin, PRL, no, for mammary glands, no, for that enables women, no, for breastfeeding. We also have the growth hormone or GH and the gonadotrophins or the FSH and the LH for the ovaries and the testes. While for the posterior, we have the oxytocin for mammary glands for breastfeeding us also, then smooth muscle of uterus and the antidiuretic hormone or ADH for the kidney tubule. So these are some of the hormones and there's the glands responsible for in the pituitary gland no, being called the master gland of the body. Okay, item number 16. What causes the lub-dub sound of the heartbeat? A, contraction of heart muscles. B, opening and closing of heart valves. C, blood flowing through arteries. Or letter D, electrical impulses in the heart. So what's your answer? All right. What's your answer? Future top notchers, of course, that's letter B. Opening and closing of heart valves. All right. So the lub-dub is actually the sound of the heart. And what causes that is the opening and closing of the heart valves, which of course prevent the blood flow of the blood. No? So we have the log, which is part of the which actually produced by the anteroventricular valves. Now we have the mitral and the tricuspid valves are shutting, no, and the dub we have the semilunar valves or the aortic and pulmonic valves which are shutting. So that's lub and dub. Now the gallop or the murmur, which is not unexpected finding, no, we call it a dull galloping sound, indicates early diastole in rapid ventricular feeling. But for older adults, no, having a murmur could be an indication of a heart failure. Okay. So item number 17, which condition occurs when there is a blockage in the coronary arteries leading to reduced blood flow to the heart? Is it A, arrhythmia, B, myocardial infarction or heart attack, C, hypertension, or letter D, aneurysm? Okay, so we're talking about here the blockage in the coronary arteries leading to reduced blood flow, and that is myocardial infarction or the heart. Okay, so heart attack or myocardial infarction. So you can see here the coronary arteries, the healthy muscle, and the dying muscle here, where you can see cholesterol plaque. And then there's a blood clot here in these particular artery. So that's myocardial infarction or heart attack. Okay, item number 18, which heart disease is characterized by irregular heartbeats, which can be too fast or too slow? So irregular heartbeat. Is it A, atherosclerosis, B, hypertension, C, arrhythmia, or letter D, stroke? Okay. So what is that particular disease? What's your answer here? Of course, that's arrhythmia. Okay. So arrhythmia is characterized by irregular heartbeat. So it refers to any problem in the rate of or rhythm of a person's heartbeat. During an arrhythmia, the electrical impulses may be too fast, too slow, or erratic, causing an irregular heartbeat. So you can see here the normal heart, and this one has atrial fibrillation, no, for heart arrhythmia. Okay. Item number 19. What is the medical term for high blood pressure? A condition that increases the risk of heart disease. A, hypotension. B, hypertension. C, tachycardia. Letter D, bradycardia. Okay. So what is our term for that for high blood pressure, which increases the risk for heart disease? This is actually letter B. That is hypertension. So high blood pressure. Okay. So for hypertension, persistently high blood pressure, which increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, and other cardiovascular complications. Now, by putting excessive strain on the arteries and the heart. While hypotension, this refers to abnormally low blood pressure, which can cause dizziness, fainting, and inadequate blood flow to organs. So high blood pressure, hypo, low blood pressure. Then, of course, we also have the tachycardia, a condition where heart beats faster than the normal or above 100 beats per minute at rest. So above 100 BPM at rest. So that is faster tachycardia. If naman slower than the normal, like for example, below 60 beats per minute or BPM at rest, that is bradycardia. Tachycardia and bradycardia. Okay. For item number 20, which diagnostic tool is commonly used to measure the electrical activity of the heart? Is it A, MRI scan, B, CT scan, C, electrocardiogram or the ECG or EKG, or letter D, X-ray? So, anong ginagamit natin to measure the electrical activity of our heart? This is a very basic, of course, that is ECG or electrocardiogram. Okay. So for ECG, no, we use that for the electrical activity of the heart, as we mentioned, while the MRI scan or the magnetic resonance imaging scan provides detailed images of the heart's structure. Okay. Then we also have the CT scan, a computed tomography scan used for imaging the heart and blood vessels to check for blockages or abnormalities. While X-ray is to show the size and shape of the heart but cannot measure its electrical activity or detect arrhythmias. No? So basically, that's for chest X-ray naman. Okay? All right, item number 21. What is the normal resting heart rate range no, for a healthy adult? Is it A, 30 to 50 BPM, B, 60 to 100 BPM, C, 110 to 140 BPM, or letter D, 150 to 180 BPM? Okay, so the normal resting heart is, that's correct, 60 to 100 BPM. So that's the normal resting heart range of a healthy adult. And did you know that heart rate increases no when you have a fever? So the heart rate increases when there's a fever compared when you are in a normal um, condition or a healthy one. Okay. Item number 22. What condition occurs when fatty deposits build up inside the arteries, leading to narrowing and reduced blood flow? Is it A, arrhythmia, B, heart murmur, C, anemia, or letter D, atherosclerosis? Okay, so what do you think is the answer here? Future top notchers, when there are fatty deposits building up into the arteries, that's correct. This is the atherosclerosis. Okay, tatandaan it's atherosclerosis. Okay, so atherosclerosis where fatty deposits or the plaques build up inside the arteries, while arrhythmia refers to an irregular heartbeat. Now, we did mention this earlier. Then we also have the heart murmur, an abnormal sound of heart during heartbeat, often caused by turbulent blood flow in the heart. And lastly, anemia, a condition in which there is a deficiency of red blood cells or hemoglobin, leading to reduced oxygen transport. Okay, item number 23. Which valve prevents blood from flowing back into the left ventricle? Is it tricuspid valve, pulmonary valve, aortic valve, or mitral valve? Okay, so what is the answer here? Of course, we have the aortic valve. Okay, remember our core valve, right? For tricuspid valve, prevents blood from flowing back into the right atrium when the right ventricle contracts. Bicuspid prevents blood from flowing back into the left atrium movement. While pulmonary valve prevents blood from flowing back into the right ventricle, while the aortic valve prevents blood from flowing back into the left ventricle. Okay, tricuspid valve to right atrium, bicuspid left atrium, pulmonary right ventricle, aortic left ventricle. Okay, so these are the valves, no, which prevents backflow of the blood. Okay, item number 24. What is the term for an abnormal heart? Okay, sorry for that. Nor heart sound caused by turbulent blood flow. Okay. So what is that? Is it A, palpitation, B, murmur, C, echo, D, flutter? Okay. So what is the term for that? That is actually, we mentioned this earlier, that's the murmur. Okay. So that's the abnormal heart, no? Heart sound caused by turbulent blood flow. Okay. So a heart murmur is the sound of blood flowing in or around the heart, no? In addition to your regular heartbeat. So they can occur continuously or when the heart is filling or emptying. Okay. Item number 25. Which heart disease is a congenital condition where a baby is born with a defect in the heart structure? A. Congenital heart disease. B. Cardiomyopathy. C. Hypertension. Or letter D. Coronary heart disease. Okay. So what's your answer? What's your answer? Of course, that is letter E. Nandun na, no? Congenital heart disease. No? Lalo to sa ating mga baby, no? Born with a defect in their heart structure. So, there are actually types of congenital heart disease or the hole in the heart. We have the atrial septal defect, a hole between the top heart chambers, and the ventricular septal defect, a hole between the lower heart chambers. No? Remember the upper or the top heart chambers are the atrium and the lower are the ventricles. Okay? So next question, item number 26. What is the largest artery in the body that carries oxygenated or oxygen-rich blood from the heart? A. Pulmonary artery, B. Coronary artery, C. Aorta, or letter D. Carotid artery. Okay, so the largest artery is, that's correct, it's the aorta. The largest artery is the aorta. The largest vein is the inferior vena cava. Okay, so we have here the aorta, no? So we have here the ascending aorta, the descending, the aortic root there, abdominal aorta. So we have this, no, in our body, and this is the largest. Okay. Number 27, which type of cholesterol is considered good because it helps remove excess cholesterol from the blood? A, LDL or low density lipoprotein, B, very low density lipoprotein or VLDL, C, high density lipoprotein or HDL, or letter D, triglycerides. The good cholesterol is actually the HDL, the high density lipoprotein. Okay, so HDL is the good cholesterol, the HDL, high density lipoprotein, and the bad cholesterol is the low density lipoprotein. So your total cholesterol level is made up of both the LDL and HDL cholesterol. When you get your cholesterol check, make sure you found out both these levels. All right. Okay. Item number 28. What lifestyle change is most effective in reducing the risk of heart disease? A, increasing salt intake. B, smoking regularly. C, exercising and eating a balanced diet. Letter D, avoiding all physical activity. Okay, so what's your answer here? Of course, we have to do exercise and eat a balanced diet. So the lifestyle change, which is most effective in reducing the risk of the heart attack. We do also have, of course, avoiding alcohol, losing weight, checking your blood sugar, sleeping well, stopping smoking, exercising, and of course, checking your blood pressure. So be careful with your heart, sabi niya. No? So, kailangan natin alagaan ng ating puso. It could be figurative or it could be literal. Item number 29. What term describes a temporary lack of blood flow to the brain due to a heart or blood vessel issue? A stroke, B seizure, C heartburn, D heart failure. Okay, heart failure. So that is correct. Stroke. So that is letter A, stroke. Okay, so that is the correct answer. So the stroke occurs when blood flow to the brain interrupted due to a block or burst blood vessel, leading to potential brain damage, loss of function, or even death if not treated promptly. While seizure caused by normal electrical activity in the brain. Okay, we also have heartburn. It's a burning sensation in the chest caused by acid reflux from the stomach into the esophagus. And lastly, heart failure, a condition where the heart cannot pump blood effectively, leading to fluid buildup and organ dysfunction. And last item, which test is used to assess the heart? Okay. Okay, ability to handle stress during physical activity, A, echocardiogram, B, angiogram, C, stress test, D, cardiac MRI. So what's your answer? So that is correct. Okay, so that is letter C, the stress test. Okay, so here, yeah. So evaluate heart's function. Okay, to handle increased physical activity. Echocardiogram test uses ultrasound waves to create images of the heart structure and function. Then we also have angiogram, an imaging test that uses contrast dye, and X-rays to check for blockages in the coronary arteries. And the cardiac MRI, a cardiac MRI provides detailed images of the heart's anatomy and function. All right, so happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day, future LPTs. Laban papasa tayo. Keep fighting. All right. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Maraming salamat po.